on, everyone? This is the Popcorn Heroes review of A Quiet Place 2. Numero dos. I am Armando. With me today is Pedro. What up, Pedro?
Yo, what's up?
What up, man? We just saw A Quiet Place not too long ago over the weekend. Good stuff. And how we usually do, Pedro, we do a little short premise, and then we get into it. So,
all right.
Pedro, give us the premise.
So, as usual, with every sequel, just like the title says, this is called A Quiet Place Part 2. Therefore, you must definitely watch Part 1 before watching this, especially this one, because it continues immediately after. So, premise-wise, it takes place right after Part 1, and it follows the family moving on from their humble abode, and going to another place, migrating more to...
Just moving. That's it. There.
Yeah, I wanted to go deeper, but premise-wise, let's just say they're moving on from their home base to other places. Let's keep it as vague as basic as vague as possible. Let's just do that.
Yep. Good stuff, Pedro. Love the premise, man.
Thanks, man. Oh, wait. I forgot the most important part. The most important part for people that don't know. It is a post-apocalyptic world where these aliens, monsters that can't see, creatures that can only hear, and they are attacking humans that make noise. So the general premise is be quiet or else you die. See, I didn't bring that part up because I figured you have to watch Part 1.
I mean, if you saw Part 1, you have to see Part 1 to understand this one. Like, it's inevitable.
Exactly. But for those that didn't watch it, there it is. There's the premise.
Nice.
Now, moving on.
And if you haven't seen Part 1, why the fuck are you listening to this Part 2 podcast?
Exactly.
The fuck? Go back and watch the first one, then come back. Anywho, so let's get into it, Pedro. We always start off with a little small thoughts, 1 out of 5. Pedro, give me your 1 out of 5.
So I thought about it for a minute. I was going between, 2 different scores, and overall, I really liked it. I'm going to give it a solid 4. I was leaning a little more towards 3.5 because there were a few things that I was like, movie could have done without. But you know what? I still really liked it, and it made good on its premise, and it was still very suspenseful, which is what made the first one so good. And the the character connection, I should say, was still highly prevalent. It wasn't, they didn't turn it into action, which I was scared they were going to do. It kept it in its thriller roots. And yeah, man, I really, really enjoyed it. Strong performances.
Yeah, I agree. I give it a 4 too. I wasn't really debating between the number to give. I really, really enjoyed the movie from the beginning to the end. I saw the Part 1 the other day, and I'm just like, man, that shit was pretty suspenseful. Like, it's really good. So, like you said, this movie definitely carries on that tradition of keeping it suspenseful, keeping it in your toes. But I do feel that the first one was more suspenseful than this one. I feel like the first one, there was more of this, like, fear, this thrilling fear behind it. And I think don't get me wrong, they're both good. I'm just saying that I think the first one was a little bit more like, oh my god, you're more in your heart, But this is for a movie that got from a movie that was never supposed to have a sequel and got turned into a sequel very quick. Yeah, it was pretty good, and that is the shocking part. Like, I can't believe that, because this was A Quiet Place was never supposed to have a sequel.
Yeah.
So the fact that this guy wrote it very fast and it turned out to be good, it's amazing. Like, he did a better Jordan Peele than
Jordan Peele. I was gonna say he didn't get his sophomore slump. There's always that sophomore slump for not one hit wonders, but you know what I'm saying. The people that are just like, whoa,
for a hit, you're so hits that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you've been writing the first one for a while, so pulling a second one out of your ass is a pain in the ass. I mean, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. He definitely did it. He did it.
Yeah, it was really good. He pulled it off, and luckily for the third one, he's being like, "Fuck that, I'm out."
Maybe I just saw something, and it wasn't confirmed if he was out yet. I think.
No, he is out. It's a director of
Oh yeah.
Look it up. This guy did
It's
bothering me. Krasinski helped write the third one, but he's not gonna direct it. But this guy, look it up, dude. It's I forgot to get the director's name, but essentially he's taking over the directing duties of the next movie. But I think Krasinski's still producing it. Regardless, like there's definitely a way to go with this with this franchise. You know, hopefully it ties it up with 3. I don't want it to go any further than that. Like this shit shouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. What makes these movies so special is that it's a big idea, but they keep it small, which it's usually the opposite for me. Like you look at oh my god, what is this? The Purge. I remember the first Purge. I'm like, man, what a big idea, but you kept it personal with a tiny. You kept it in a house with a small family. What? And here, that's what they did. They're like a whole big thing, and they kept it to a small family, and it ended up being the exact opposite effect. It was amazing. So I don't want to get too much into it because we're still technically in the non-spoilers section. So
okay, so I don't think there's a director yet, but he says he's not directing it.
There were probably rumors and talks about who was going to take over, but nothing just yet.
Yeah, so it was probably just a rumor then. That's good though. I mean, it has places to go, but let's get into it, Pedro. Let's get into the spoilers. Let's talk about this more. If you haven't seen the movie, come back. Go watch it and come back. Let us know what's up. If you don't care, stick around. Let's get it, Pedro. Spoilers ahead. Right. Spoilers. Let's get it.
Spoilers ahead.
All right. So, I mean, like I was telling you earlier, there's something about this movie that's, you know, the suspensefulness and all that. But the way the movie left it off is like they have to fight back at this point, right? Like I don't think there's no other way around it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's fight back as in a war. What it is now wherever that radio station has signal, everyone else has the ability to use that signal back to at least defend their area and clear out the area. So I don't think of it as a war, as in people are gonna like charge with their fucking signal and then just start. No, it's gonna be it's gonna be people just using that signal to, you know, clear out areas. So, but yeah, man, if a third one does happen, most likely it will, because I think this one's doing really fucking good for pandemic wise. I think they should, especially if Krasinski is writing it, he's gonna try and keep it as personal as possible. And I think that's the best way to go. If you make it big sci-fi action, it loses what made it great. So I hope they don't go a big route, if that's what you were thinking. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there has to be a fight somewhere. Like there has to be them taking back a town or some shit like that from these beings, or them protecting themselves, surrounding a town with this noise to keep the monsters away at bay. There has to be a way of them getting back to normalcy, right? Like here in this movie, you found an island that was straight up chilling, like hanging out and living their lives. And I think that's where the next movie should head to, is them finding a refuge somewhere that they can just be normal again, you know? That's my thing. It has to go in that direction somewhere. Them building to that, or them making the whole to make that happen.
So the whole theme of this movie was essentially hope, right? Because it's, if you think about it, the main character is the daughter now. The daughter is the main character. She is the driving force. She got all of, because the whole first movie was the father and daughter aspect. It was her feeling guilty for getting her brother killed and her thinking her dad hates her, and there was like that push back and forth, and he was tough on her, and she's kind of like, oh, daddy doesn't love me. But really, it was like, I'm being tough because you're the one that's going to carry on when I'm gone. Like that type of mentality. Mm-hmm. And in this one, that's what you see. That's exactly what you see. She's like, all right, I got the tools, I got the weapons. Now I need to bring this hope to others. And the best way that the movie shows that she is hope is by they meet Cillian Murphy, this whole other character, and he's just completely fuck humanity, fuck humans. No one should be saved. You know, whoever's left shouldn't be saved. And he just doesn't want to help them. He doesn't even want to get out. He's just like, fuck it. You're going to be here, fine, but then you're going to leave. Like, he wasn't even going to save them when they were getting attacked. The only reason why he jumped in was because he saw, oh shit, these guys killed that thing. He was just going to watch them die and probably get their supplies afterwards, you know? So yeah. He wasn't really, I guess, he wasn't really in the morally right. He was in the morally gray of what that world would make you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So seeing him totally 180 because of her influence, that's like, there it is. That's what she's supposed to be. She is like essentially like a messiah at this point. So yeah. It was really good that they introduced a whole other character to show that growth, to see that, you know, she can change someone.
Yeah, she could change people to start hoping again. And I like the idea also that, you know, watching back the first one again, you could see that she had a lot of her dad in her. Yeah. But in this movie, it's kind of like, yeah, you're pretty much like your dad. Like you're following everything that you're doing what your dad would have done. Right. You know, because her dad never settled. Like he was always looking for something. He was always trying to figure something out. He was always trying to build something to build something in the sense of like build peace, you know, find some way to find normalcy again. Because when we were watching the first one, he was always on alert. He was always like, oh, I need to figure something out to help my family and help people. I need to do something, you know? Yeah. And he spent the whole movie just trying to do something. And it's kind of great to see the daughter ending up doing that something he was looking for so long, you know? And I thought that was great, you know? And even Cillian Murphy saying like, "Yo, you are your daughter. You are your father. You know, like you're exactly like him. You're doing what he would have done. You know, like you don't need to look for approval. I think like it's more like you are it, and just keep doing what you're doing. You know. I think that whole idea was pretty cool.
There's
how did you like the? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna talk about the same thing you're talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like,
how did you like the beginning?
So I actually really enjoyed that shit. I enjoyed. I mean, aside from the flashback itself, I enjoyed the way they started it. Right? It's like there's no one on the street. You just see cars. It's quiet, and then you're like, wait a minute. Is this a flashback? Is this happening now? Like, it's just there's no one out on the road. What is this? This is weird.
It's funny if you watch the first one. That's how it opens up too. The first one opens up on the town being quiet, being like deserted, and then it goes into the shop, and then they're just gathering in the shop.
You're right, because then it shows like the newspaper a little bit. You kind of get like you're reading the stuff. Oh, that's true. So
it kind of that makes even more sense. It plays on that.
That might even have been the same street. It could have been.
It is.
Actually.
It's the same thing. It's the same. It's everything's the same. Even the same shop, but this shop being normal instead of deserted.
Oh my God, you're completely right, because he goes in there and they even zoom in on the shuttle like later. Oh,
the shuttle that ends up getting their kid killed.
Yeah, I should have watched it before I watched the second one, but now that you put those pieces together, damn, it made it even more brilliant. That's awesome.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I didn't notice that until I rewatched the first one. I'm just like, oh my God, this is just great.
Oh, damn, that's really good. Shit, now I want to watch the first one again. So you're saying, shot for shot, probably that slow, like, you know, zoom into it. Oh, that's badass. Okay, that even works better.
And it's just like you're saying, it's you're wondering like, when is this? And then you see Krasinski just start walking, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the normal time.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he's alive, which means it's before.
Yeah.
it was so good seeing him again. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the whole sequence is great with him, walking to and then you go to the baseball game, and that's where the whole town is at. That's why it's so deserted.
That's why it's so
and
deserted,
like, oh, this
right?
is fucking great.
Yeah,
and I just love the whole thing, the whole dynamic.
Yeah, and then of course they introduced Cillian Murphy there. You see that they were friends. And so I remember in the last review we talked about Chekhov's gun. If they introduce something, you always got to use it later. And that wow moment was where Cillian Murphy, I forgot why he asked, but he said, "How do you say dive?" In sign language. Yeah. And then she does her whole little hand gesture of these two. It's kind of like a praying,
a prayer.
And then, the prayer swooshing downward to do the thing. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I should have known that. That's easy." And then you're kind of thinking like, "Okay, is this just like cool character moments?" And then boom, it comes into play later, and you're like, "Oh, there it is."
It's amazing, and I love how they brought it back because like when you see it, you don't really think of it. You're like, "Oh yeah, they're learning."
Right.
He's learning a sign language to communicate.
It's weird enough for you to remember, but not weird enough for you to go, that has to come into play. No, not really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best way to use it. Where just you're like, oh, that's cool that's happening, but you don't really think of your head like, oh, that's gonna come back and surprise us later on. It's amazing. It's just cool because you see it through Cillian Murphy eyes, like, oh, he fucking remembered. You've seen it through the girl's eyes, like, oh, he remembered that one time of sign language because he spent the whole movie not knowing. Like he was talking to her, and she's like, "I can't understand you. You gotta
enunciate." Yeah,
and then she spent the whole movie like, "Oh, look at me while you talk," And I think that was cool. And when he the one thing he knew, is she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." That was amazing.
That scene was so good.
Which one, the ship or the first one?
The dock, the whole dock. Well, the opening scene, of course, for sure, that was great.
Yeah.
Well, actually, before I go to the dock, let's finish up the flashback of where.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that I love movies when they do how things started. Like
yes,
like Dawn of the Dead when the zombies start hitting and shit goes crazy. This movie when the aliens started hitting and shit goes crazy. What was the other one I was thinking about?
Like War of the Worlds, maybe.
War of the Worlds, because that practically the whole movie is shit going crazy.
Yeah.
When it's
like Fear the Walking Dead, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And like Bird Box, when you first start seeing the creatures hitting, and you're like, oh shit, it's so cool. Like I love those beginning.
That confusion, chaos.
That mess, that chaos. Yeah, exactly. The chaos. There you go. Of just shit hitting the fan and nobody knows what's happening and people running and people surviving. Like I love that idea. I've always loved that. Of
it was just
every disaster movie, how it starts like that.
They didn't show all of it, but it was just enough to get you like, well, that's it. That's how it happened. They came from the sky and they just started fucking landing, and then immediately, of course, everyone's making noise, everyone's running, everyone's screaming, and they're just mowing them down. And I just love the scene is also where they're hiding out in the bar, and then and that's where you start. Everyone's trying to be quiet, and then you hear the girl talking on the phone. And in my theater was pretty interactive, so they were just what the fuck? Like everyone had that, like it wasn't that they were talking during the movie, but you hear everyone going, like, oh, like that's it, because we already saw the first movie, so we already know what's gonna happen. You hear on the phone, oh, everything's okay, and you're like, yep, they're fucking done. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I love that. That whole sequence was great. I loved it, and especially when she, the part where you see in the trailer when she's driving backwards and the bus is coming.
Oh yeah, I mean, this movie got delayed, so we saw that trailer so many times. But even seeing it, it's just like, yeah, man, this scene was awesome.
Krasinski was talking about it, and he's like, Emily Blunt wanted to do the driving, so she's actually driving backwards with the fucking bus coming at her at 40 miles per hour. And he was just like, I thought I was going to end my marriage right there. Because she was fucking wanting to do this stuff.
I remember when she did Edge of Tomorrow, she did her driving stunts because apparently Tom Cruise kind of like forced her into it. He's like, come on, you don't need a stunt double. You can do it. And she was like, all right, I guess fine if Tom Cruise says so. So she did like some Jeep maneuvering in that movie. So yeah, she was probably like, fuck that. I had to deal with Tom Cruise and we're good. Like,
Tom Cruise did this shit with me, man. I could do it.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole opening thing was fucking fantastic, man. I loved every second of it. A great way to open the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Get you into it. But yeah, that dock scene, man, it was great. Let's go back to that since you wanted to talk about the dock scene.
Yeah, dude. It was so good because, I'm glad I was wrong. But going into the movie, I know I talked about this a little bit with you. Going into the movie, I expected it to be more of the Raiders, the bad people, more Last of Us. And I'm like, just judging by the trailer, it seemed like it was going to be more of that. Of how people went bad, you know, how they got greedy and shit. And I thought it was going to be less monsters and more people against each other. And I'm glad they didn't go that route. Because I'm like, man, we've seen this shit already. Every season of Walking Dead, you know, there's Last of Us that we play like crazy, you know, that type of shit. So the fact that they didn't focus on it too much, but gave you a nice set piece all around that was so good. Because you got to see it. You got to see what Cillian Murphy was talking about.
Yeah.
And the fact that they used the little girl as like a decoy to get you going, and then they set a trap for you so you can't move. You know, that net with all the bottles and all the clinking and shit, and you're like, oh, you're fucked. And then they were going to get the girl to go use her probably for future traps. Like, it was just crazy. It's like, yo, these people are fucked. No one's saying a word. And then the payoff of it all is the diving, you know, moment. And then just so making noise and just using it against them. And that whole set piece, the whole thing was super, like, suspenseful. And they had that scene going at the same time as the kid going through his dumb shit of his exploring.
That kid is so dumb, dude.
Yo,
he's so frustrating.
So you know, I said some of the dumb moments. That was one of them. That kid, he was just going out exploring, right? Like, did I misunderstand? He just wanted to go out.
Yeah,
because he was using up the oxygen for the baby just so he can go inside and like listen. And then he wanted to go out and explore. Now, I don't know if you got this feeling too. I kind of got the idea that they were going to go the route that maybe Cillian Murphy like killed his wife. And then maybe when he was exploring, he was going to like pull back the curtains and see her like murdered rather than died peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to go that route.
Yeah.
So
that's what I thought.
I guess the only way that maybe that would have happened more organically, rather than the kid just like, hey, let me explore, you know, by myself over here like an idiot. I thought maybe there could have been some type of hint that maybe he thought Cillian Murphy wasn't a good guy. And maybe he had like suspicions about his story. And maybe when they're all gone, he's like, let me find out if this is a good guy or not. Maybe if they would have implied that somehow, it would have been a better reason of why he went out. Because the set piece, the action, the whole action scene was great. But the build up to it, I just thought it was like, come on, really? We're gonna do that's what sets it off? That's lame. Kid's an idiot. Yeah. He went through everything they went through in the first movie. He should be smarter than that, you know? That felt like it was an excuse to write a scene rather than it happening organically. That's my nitpick right there.
Yeah, but the thing is that even in the first movie, the kid is an idiot. Like he's
I mean, the ambulance scene, of course. Besides the ambulance scene, I'm trying to remember. I mean, you saw the first one. You know, it's fresher in your head, but
yeah. But you know what's funny? Because in the first one, he was so scared of going out, of leaving his camp. Like he's always scared. So like now he's somewhere quote unquote safe, yet he goes out to venture out to do nothing. Yeah. Because he didn't need anything. The mom said, you have everything you need here.
Yeah.
She signed it to him. So like he had no fucking reason to get out. He just left because of boredom. That's it. That's all it was for. So it's kind of like, you're a fucking idiot. You know there's shit out there trying to kill you. Yeah. And you're venturing out just because you're bored.
That's the part that I watched that and I'm like, there could have been a better setup to this. Definitely. Mm-hmm. But
like it would have been cool if he, you know, heard voices or something, you know, and he's like, what the fuck was that? And he goes out, you know, or some shit like that. Like there had to be something better than him just being bored.
Yeah. Something else. But
somebody finds them and starts shit, or
Mhm.
I don't know, dude. Like,
yeah.
there could have been a way to play it out, you know.
But I will say the way they did all three
And he
action
was
pieces-
injured too.
Yeah.
On top
it's
of
true.
that.
Oh,
So, like,
that's
why
true.
the
He had the
fuck
bear trap.
are you going somewhere
Yeah.
if you're fucking injured?
Yeah, the kid was. It felt almost out of character, you know. The amount of stupidity, the amount of shit that it was doing, you know. Especially with your baby sibling there, you know. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. It's a fucking baby. Take care of that motherfucker, you know.
Yeah, but I did like how they put all the action scenes together. You know, they had him practically suffocating.
Yeah.
They had the mom coming back and like fighting the monster with the water and the and the gas, the oxygen tank, and then at the same time they have the boat scene. Like all of it's happening simultaneously, and the build up to all of those was like it was so good. It was just that even with the music, that boom, like that Hans Zimmer level of just bass building up, and then the running, the shooting, everything starts happening at the same time, and it cuts to all three action pieces. I thought that was great.
It was great. It was great. It was great form of editing what they did there.
Yes,
and it made you feel invested in everybody's story. It didn't play it out, which was great. You know what? One thing I did understand was the whole water thing.
They can't swim
because in the first movie, when her basement is getting flooded, when the baby's in the basement, one of the creatures gets into the basement, and as it's flooding, the creature itself goes into the water,
right?
And then it pops up on the casket. So I'm just kind of like, so are they afraid of water or are they not afraid of water? Because I just don't understand what's happening here.
I don't think they're not afraid of water because they were clearly just jumping in and like fighting anything, you know, killing anything. I think they just can't swim. I think they just sink. They sink and then they drown. So in the basement, it's shallow. So they probably just went in, oh, I heard something. And then they'll stick their head out. But if they just, because one of them sunk, because, you know, there were two creatures in the dock. One of them jumped into the boat, and we know what happened with that. The other one just fell straight into the water, fighting the guy with the net and everything, and never came back up, just drowned, just died. So their weakness is they can't swim. Not necessarily they're scared of water. So that's what it is.
You know, the other thing I don't understand about these monsters is why they're doing what they're doing.
Right, but I mean,
are they eating them or are they just killing? Like I don't understand the purpose of these beings. You know,
I mean, they're eating it to survive. So my headcanon for this is, it's not that they came in and invaded on spaceships or anything. What my brain tells me until the third one or fourth one or however fucking many they decided to explain something, my headcanon is it's a meteor or something that was coming our way that just had them living there like parasites, something. And then it came, crashed into I don't know how many little pieces upon, you know, hitting our orbit, and then it crashed different parts around the world. And then from there, boom. And then maybe maybe in the next one they'll introduce like alien style, like a queen where they lay eggs, and that's how we know how they make more of them. They could probably dive more into the way they reproduce, right? Because it's what, like 50 of them invaded, and it's the same 50 forever. So they can go that route with the sequel, the aliens route. And but that's my idea of it. I don't think there's any real intelligence to it. It's just regular old creatures coming over here and just trying, you know, just top of the food chain type level shit.
Yeah, because they kill very indiscriminately. Like they just kill people and they just kill. They kill.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's like, what's the point of you killing if you're not eating? Like, there's very few that they eat.
Let me see what their rating is.
They just mostly kill.
Is it rated R or PG-13? Because now I'm wondering.
It's PG-13.
Maybe that's why they're not showing eating, because they still want to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, because you see them eat some certain people, like they bite some heads and shit like that, and they eat.
Yeah,
but overall, they're just killing just to kill, and I'm just kind of like, what's the fucking point of you then?
Yeah, I think you know,
because if they ate everybody they killed, then it makes sense.
Yeah, they probably do. They just didn't want to show it for the sake of, you know, we need teenagers in our fucking seats. And maybe they just don't want to overdo it with gore. But, so, we get the dock scene, the boat, and then they get to the island, and then like you said, when they get to that island, that's where you see everything is just completely normal. They even do a jump cut of where they're there. You know, they didn't waste time of like, oh, here, my name is introduced. No, it's just boom. Cut right into them already integrated, talking around the campfire. And then you get good old Jimon Hansu.
Damn, you know, I saw him like, damn, he's gonna be here in the sequel. Good shit. And
nope.
He survived like 5 or 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
So my other
I love seeing him.
Yeah, he's great. I just was kind of annoyed that they used him so like quickly. Especially since he was one of the quote unquote big names of the movie,
and that's where it annoys me the most. Is kind of like why they introduce this actor to do this role, and yet you kill him off within 10 minutes of the movie. Like you could have just gotten any random motherfucker to do this.
So yeah. So I looked at the cast, and originally it was supposed to be Brian Tyree Henry for that role.
Oh shit, that would have been so much better actually.
I think so too. Cuz he's got more charisma like for that role for the type of like leader of a village type role. I don't know. I felt like it would have been better, like warmer to them.
Jimon Hansu is great for what he did cuz he feels like a leader. He feels like a guy's going to get shit done. But Tyree Henry would have been perfect in a sense of like humanizing that character in a sense of kind of like like you say, he's more charismatic, more like
like hey, welcome, more
welcoming,
more warm, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have seen Tyree Henry more of like a welcomer, more of a spokesperson than a leader. You get what I'm saying?
They don't say specifics, but they say they had to replace him due to scheduling problems, and I think it's because of Eternals.
Yeah,
he's like, yo, I'm in Marvel, dude. Come on,
dude. But he would have been so good in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small part though, so really, he probably saw the script and he's like, man, that's awesome, but I could be a bigger character in Eternals, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, Eternals is the smarter play,
for sure. You're going to get toys in your likeness, you know? You ain't going to get toys in your likeness for this. You ain't going to get a Funko Pop.
Yeah, exactly. But my thing is just kind of like, that role was so small that he's the type of actor that's perfect for that role.
Yeah, I think so too.
Even though Jimon Hansu, he's not a big name either, so it makes sense for him too. But I think that role would have been better played for somebody who's up and coming than
So
who's been around.
So my nitpick is the way they killed him off. Like, you know, they've been on the island. You'd think they'd be smarter, right? They're survivors of you know, the whole thing.
Unless it just gotten so comfortable.
Or right. But just the fact that he was like, wait, I gotta go back, and he's making noise, and I'm like, dude, come on, man, you know this. And then they redshirted him. That's what they did. You know what's funny? He doesn't even. I looked at his name in the cast, and he doesn't even have a name. His character name is Man on Island. What kind of shit is that? They didn't even give you a fucking
He's
name.
a red shirt.
He's a red shirt.
Big time red shirt, yeah.
The only thing that threw us off, if they would have put any Joe Schmo, I guess we wouldn't be reacting this way. But the fact that they put a known actor, not a big person, you know, but a known actor.
But he is known. For sure known, yeah.
Yeah. People look at him and go, hey, he's from whatever fucking insert anything here. Because people know him from different things. Like me, you know, more Gladiator and Blood Diamond than anything else.
Exactly.
Where am I? But yeah, dude, his character was an actual like red shirt. He was put there just to do some exposition on the island and then just kill him off right before the big climax.
Yeah.
But still, it's still a nitpick for me. I felt like that character should have been a little smarter and probably.
Oh no, for sure.
Maybe if that character would have done the sacrifice of like, I gotta buy you some time while you do the signal, it would have felt a little cooler. Instead, they gave Killian that move, and he almost died in the process. They gave him that thing.
Yeah, it would have been cool if he would have just tried to like hold the door there, or like I don't know, something.
Yeah,
He's
maybe
trying to set
both
up
of
a
them,
bomb to, I don't
both of
know,
them work
whatever.
together to hold the door, and then maybe it rips through the door and like slices them up, and that's when he goes out. You know, just a fighting back way rather than, oh, my people are in danger, and just runs and slap. And it's like, damn, that's
Yeah.
like we keep saying, it's a red shirt death. I didn't want.
And he got caught by surprise. It wasn't like even like he was fighting for it or running for his life. He
Yeah.
just,
Oh!
wait, I need to go back. Oh no, you got me.
Yeah. It just felt so. That's it. Those are my two nitpicks of
Yeah.
the movie, and it was the kid
alright,
being
so-
an idiot and him dying. Those are the two nitpicks.
Yeah. My thing is with him dying, what I feel happened is that he just got too comfortable being the island. Like they've been there for about a year, maybe the guy he was saying. So they just got comfortable, dude, and they didn't have
And yeah,
or feel a need or have fear anymore of the monsters because of where they are. No one was gonna get there.
yeah.
So they just got comfortable in their life, and they weren't really struggling anymore, you know.
So I'm looking at the cast. I just happened to read this. Fun fact. So you know the one that played as the young son in the first movie, the one that died because of the whole shuttle thing?
Yeah, the baby. Yeah, the little boy.
The little
4
boy.
years
So
old.
for the flashback scene for this movie, obviously he's grown up since then, so they couldn't do it with him. But they just got his younger brother to play as him.
Oh shit! That is crazy.
Because
I was wondering about that flashback scene because they didn't look older, but they didn't
No.
look younger either.
They didn't look younger either. They looked the same. But if you think about it, timeline-wise,
That's
what is it? 2 years have passed?
No, it's at least it's been a year and a half. 'Cause
Even
they're
less.
on day
There you go.
460
So-
something.
So it makes sense for them not to age that much. Maybe they did a little VFX magic to
tweak.
kind of maybe
Yeah.
a little tweak, but you didn't really need that much. So it says here the son is Cade Woodward in the first movie, and then his brother Dean Woodward reprised the role, or what? Not reprised, but played the role. That was kind of funny.
Wow,
it's a cool little.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, that's a cool little little fun fact.
I didn't even notice it. I didn't notice it.
No.
Which for me, it felt like the same thing.
I did go, they're not showing the kid's face because it's a different kid because obviously he's grown up. That's the only thing I noticed. They purposely never showed his face, but it made sense. It's fine. Flashback isn't about him anyways. It's so we can see Krasinski.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Because that's the one we're gonna miss the whole movie. So it's like, I miss
Yeah.
you.
He ain't coming back for 3 though. That's for sure.
No,
There's no
he ain't
point
gonna be
in
a
going
Rush Hour 3.
flashback.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So the acting was top notch. Also, I love Cillian Murphy, man. Anytime I see him, I'm just like, this guy's so fucking good at what he does.
yeah,
Like his craft is just amazing.
yeah, man.
I
good.
can't get enough of his acting.
He's been killing it
and
in.
everybody else did good.
He's been killing it in Peaky Blinders, so it's nice seeing him in movies again. He's just been doing his show, which is bread and butter right now because he's that role was made for him, so it makes sense. So it's just kind of nice. I remember when I saw the trailer, I had your reaction. I'm like, oh, Cillian Murphy! Haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
It was
Overall, this movie was great.
yeah, definitely. And I liked how abruptly they ended it, kind of like the first one. It's just that abrupt ending.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the kid, the son redeemed himself from his stupidity. He had the whole, because I was always like, yo, shut the fuck up with the fucking radio. You're going to get caught. You're being stupid with that stupid radio. That's my thinking, right? You got your headphones on, you're not paying attention to anything. You're going to get killed because of that radio. And then the radio ends up saving him.
Yeah. Well, as soon as his sisters left, he was just waiting for her signal. That's why he kept hearing the radio.
Oh, he did know the plan, didn't he?
Yeah, because she snuck him into the furnace. And
You're right.
him.
You're right. Yeah.
The first time the radio was introduced was to calm him because he was fucking freaking out because he got
Yeah, that shit got chopped, dude.
That was a hard
That
one
scene-
though.
That's
a hard one.
That scene was crazy because they kind of were showing they kind of did a whole, like, War of the Worlds kind of did it. Remember where it's like, oh, I have to choose between my son and my daughter, and he's like, my son's gonna leave, and then my daughter's crying, and they're like, what am I gonna do, right? And they had that moment where the son's like screaming bloody murder, and then the baby, and then you see that moment where she's like, my son or my baby, and then that's when the daughter comes in, and she's like, come on, mom, we got the fucking big guns, and then she cranks it up, and that's when they decide to fight. But there was that split second of, oh no, do you have to choose? course not. You got the big guns. You're fine. So
yeah, but that scene frustrated me in the sense of just like, why didn't that kid bite down on something? Like, he could have like, oh
yeah. I mean,
you know, like,
you still need to think about it's a fucking child that
yeah.
He's going. Think about it, he's going into shock. When you get an injury like that, your body goes into shock. Common sense out the window completely. You just do what you do. So it felt natural. I'm like, damn, poor kid. He ain't gonna know. Even an adult would probably act the same. So I'm like, it's all in character to me.
So Pedro, if you had a choice between the baby and the kid, what would you do?
I would do with the mom that I'll fucking shoot that shit.
Then you die too. We all die.
Well, if we have the hearing thing, come on, man.
No, I'm not saying you have the hearing shit. Shut the fuck up. That's cheating. I'm talking. Stop being Game Shark, man. I'm talking about you don't have Game Shark. It's just you, your daughter, you know, the baby, and your kid just got fucking bear trapped. What is your choice?
I don't know. That's a tough one. So I guess in that situation, we don't have anything. You would have to grab whoever you can to run. At that point,
so the kid is dead.
The kid is dead at that point. Yeah. It's tough to say. You grab the baby and run. But even with the baby crying, you know what I'm saying? Without a backup like that, you're dead. So pretty much the point is, yeah, you'll all die. Without that hearing aid, you're dead, period. Because you have a baby that's going to cry at all kinds of hours, you know, shit like that. So, yeah, dude, forget it.
Damn, dude. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, game over. We need that hearing aid shit.
Yeah, that for sure. But yeah, that scene was pretty crazy. Even them doing that big ass trek to that mill place was kind of insane. It was just
the trek.
I think that's part of the first time they ever ventured out. Yeah, when they left the house and they were going to, that's part of the first time they ever ventured out, huh?
Oh, so what I like, so right before that, we go to him. Oh, no, it was the daughter. The daughter lights the fire, right? Or was it the son?
Yeah, she lights the fire and then she sees the fire show up.
And then she's a fire and that's Cillian Murphy. So it's kind of cool to see like, oh, he's always been there in the first one, you know? Yeah. And then that's why they head in that direction. They're like, well, there's someone there. But yeah, I know what scene you're talking about where the sand runs out and it's like that point of no return.
Yeah, like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like, well, safety, that's it, is out the window. Because now, and then I love the sound engineering for that fucking scene. Because, you know, they're walking in the sand, so it's like that muffled, like, pop, pop. Yeah. And then once it gets off the sand, you just hear that crunch of leaves. You're like, oh, you guys are dead. You guys are so dead. Like, that was my thinking the whole time.
It was crazy, man.
If they hadn't cleaned house at the end of the first one / beginning of the second one, they would have got chomped at that part.
Yeah, that's true.
But the fact that they were able to kill everything in the surrounding area, that's what gave them some breathing room.
You know, that's one thing we didn't see is them killing the other ones that were rushing to the house at the end.
I mean, you didn't have to see it because that would turn it into action. It would take away from the suspense that's key to the film. So I'm okay with knowing that they just killed the shit out of everyone there between movies. I'm cool with that. We've seen them do it to a couple already. So I didn't need to see them do it to like 10 or however many there were. I did like that they just showed the bodies right after, and you're like, yep, badasses.
Yeah, they fuck shit up. Yeah, man. I really enjoyed this movie, man. It was an unexpected sequel that actually paid off, in my opinion. Like, it just
an unexpected rushed sequel that was great, which is like unheard of.
Insane.
Unheard of.
It is unheard of, yeah. Fucking great movie, man. I really liked it. So, without further ado, Pedro, do you recommend this movie?
Highly recommend. Overall, it's not as good as the first one, but goddamn is it good.
It's close enough, dude. It's close enough.
Yeah, man.
And I do recommend it, and I definitely recommend seeing that shit in Dolby.
So I didn't watch it in Dolby. I watched it in IMAX, or like we like to call fake IMAX. And it was still pretty fucking good. Still pretty good.
You just couldn't recline. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
You're right. I couldn't. That's fine though. I was seated in a nice sweet spot where I could just like see everything good.
All right. Any last thoughts, Pedro, before we wrap this up?
No, we got them all, man. We got them all.
Awesome. All right. ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this review of A Quiet Place 2. Only in theaters until the next 45 days, where you can watch it on Paramount Plus with a subscription.
Yep.
If you want to. You can either see it now or wait for the subscription. Let us know your thoughts of the movie if you saw it. It did make big bucks, $57 million over the 4-day weekend, 48 over the 3-day weekend if you didn't count.
Good shit.
Monday, which is great, which is the first hit of the pandemic, actual hit, because that was Godzilla, but then this shit beat out of the water.
Yeah, this shit like almost doubled it. Almost.
Yeah, so this is the first hit where people can be like, oh shit, there is still life in theaters.
Yeah.
People do want to go, but for the right film, they're willing to sacrifice their lives.
Yeah.
Anyways, let us know what you thought about this movie. Hit us up. You know where we're at. Social media, Popcorn Heroes, Gmail, popcornheroes@gmail.com. Till next time.
Bye-bye.